Welcome all of you. This is the first video of compiler design series. Watch this video if you are a compiler design enthusiast or a university student trying to figure out language processes. The objective of this video is to learn LL1 grammar and its parsing rules. If you want to walk through this video, you have to have at least basic knowledge of theory of computation and automata theory. What I mean is you must understand how a finite automata works, how a non-deterministic automata is different from a deterministic one, and how production rules work. An LL1 parser is a top-down parser. The first L indicates the reading direction, that is from left to right. The second L indicates the derivation order, that is left, and the 1 indicates that there is one symbol look ahead. As every other grammar, LL1 has its own set of rules. We will go through each one of them in a few minutes. The first rule of LL1 grammar is to eliminate the left recursion. Let us consider a production rule where A derives A alpha or beta. A production rule is said to have left recursion if leftmost variable of the RHS is same as the variable of LHS, in this case variable A. By carefully writing a grammar via elimination of left recursion and left factoring, we can obtain a grammar that can be parsed by a top-down parser. To remove left recursion, we write down new production rules. A derives beta A dash, where A dash is a non-terminal. The production of A dash will derive alpha A dash or epsilon. Let's grab an example. S derives S0, S1S, and it also derives 0, 1. You can see that the left recursion is present here. To remove that, we are going to write new production rules that say S derives 0, 1 S dash. 0, 1 is the beta here, and S dash derives 0 S1 S. This is going to be the alpha, then S dash, and the necessary production is S dash derives epsilon as well. We compared this production rule to the generic production rule we studied. If you have doubts, then grab a pen and paper and try to derive the original production rule with the help of new set of rules that we just wrote. If that's not helpful at all, then reach out via comments. Step 2 will be to remove left factoring from the grammar. Let us understand the concept of left factoring. Let us say that we have an input string that starts with Z. If I have a grammar in which all of the production rules start from deriving Z, then the compiler will be confused about which production rule to choose. So it is clear that common prefixes introduce ambiguity to the compiler, and left factoring is the presence of that common prefix. We see a production rule that says A derives alpha beta 1 or alpha beta 2 or alpha beta 3. Here you can see that alpha is that prefix that repeats itself in all the production rules. To remove the multiple appearances of alpha, we write a new production rule that says A derives alpha A dash, where A dash is a non-terminal and it derives beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3. It is a generic rule. You can apply it in the example we are going to solve now. We have the grammar that says S derives IETS or IETS, ES and A. The common prefixes are highlighted in the red color. If we compare this to the generic rules that we just saw, we can identify alpha as IETS, beta 1 as epsilon because the first production rule does not contain anything after the common prefix, and beta 2 as ES. Here we will leave alone the production rule that contains A because it does not have a prefix in front of it. So the new production rule will come as S derives IETS S dash or A because we have to write it as it is as it contains no common prefix. Then S dash will be written as epsilon because beta 1 is epsilon slash we will write beta 2 as its second production. The third step is to find the first of all non-terminals. The first question you should ask is, what is the first of any non-terminal? And the answer should be, a first of any non-terminal is a set of terminals with which strings can be derived from start. Again, to get a better understanding, let's consider the working of parser. Let's say we have a production rule where A derives alpha 1, alpha 2 up to n production rules, that is alpha n. And consider an input string, that is switch case. I want to parse this string with the help of these production rules. I'm just playing out a scenario so that you understand how first and follow work for an LL1 parser. So if you look at the new production rules that I just laid out, that says A derives S and it also derives epsilon, you will see that the production rule will only pass one input symbol, that is S, and after that the parsing will fail because there is no production rule that can be used to parse the complete string. Now you can see that it is very easy to parse a string because the production rule contains only terminals. So we have to give parser a set of terminals that it can use to identify production rules to parse a given input string. Let's look at the rules that make our life a bit more bearable. I hope you see the sarcasm. If you want to find first of A, find first of everything that is on the right hand side of the production rule. The first of A will be first of XYZ. It solely depends on X because it is the leftmost symbol on the right hand side of the production rule. So if X is a terminal, the first of A will be the set of X. A set is written in curly braces notation. If X is a non-terminal, then first of A will be first of X, and if first of X contains epsilon, you have to remove that and then find the first of whatever is next to X, that is Y. Let's see the example to remove the confusion. Let's look at the example where we have four production rule as follows. S derives UVW, V derives AV or epsilon, U derives open bracket S close bracket or ASB or D. W derives CW or epsilon. Whenever you encounter a set of production rules and you have to find first of all the non-terminals, start with the non-terminal which has all its production rules starting with some terminal. For example, V, U or even W. If you take a look at S, it is the only non-terminal whose production rule starts with a non-terminal. We are starting with V. So first of V will be the first terminal that appears in its production. In this case, A and epsilon. The first of W will be C and epsilon. Similarly, the first of U will be the terminals that appear in its production, that is open bracket A and D. When it comes to S, you have to find first of UVW, that is you have to find first of U, and if first of U contains epsilon, you will have to find first of V. In this case, we know first of U does not contain epsilon. First of S will be equal to first of U. In this case, open bracket AD. The fourth step of constructing an LL1 parser is to find follow of all the non-terminals. To find follow of a non-terminal, you have to find its occurrence on the left-hand side of the production rule. So, what is a follow of non-terminal? It is a set of terminal symbols which follow a variable in the process of derivation. Let's look at the rules to find follow. If the given symbol is a start symbol, then the follow of S will contain a dollar. Let us consider a production where A derives PQR, find follow of Q. Notice that we are looking at the occurrence of Q on the right hand side of production rule. We are not looking for Q's own production rules. So the follow of Q will be equal to first of R if and only if the first of R does not contain epsilon. If the first of R contains epsilon, then it's going to be the lengthy one. That is, you have to remove the epsilon and union it with the follow of A. Again, we take the same example. We already wrote the first of all the non-terminals. We have to find follow of non-terminals now. So pay close attention. To find the follow of S, we will not focus on the production of S, that is S derives UVW. Rather, we will look at a production where S appears on the right hand side. The production of U contains S, where S has two occurrences, that is open bracket S close bracket and ASB. The follow of S will contain a dollar because S is a start symbol. Also, the follow of S will contain first of everything that comes after it in the production of U, that is closing bracket and B. To find follow of U, find a production that has U on the right hand side of it. The production rule of S derives UVW. Therefore, follow of U will be first of everything that comes after it. That is first of V and W. Now notice that first of V and W, both of them contain epsilon. So to remove the epsilon, we try to find the first of symbol that is after W. Nothing is after W, so we will take follow of S. That is first of VW contains epsilon. To remove the epsilon, we will do the union of follow of S, as there is nothing after W. Again, this is important. If you want to find follow of a non-terminal, just make sure that the solution does not contain an epsilon. Follow of any non-terminal can never contain epsilon in the set. To find follow of W, we will find a production that has W on the right hand side of it. That is the production of S derives UVW. There is nothing after W, therefore follow of W will be follow of S, that is dollar closing bracket V. To find follow of V, we find a production that contains V on the right hand side of it. Again, S derives UVW has V followed by W. Therefore, follow of V will be first of W. First of W is C and epsilon. Because there is the presence of epsilon, we will unite the answer with follow of S and remove that epsilon. So, follow of V will be C dollar closing bracket B. The fifth and last step to check whether a grammar is LL1 grammar is to create a parsing table. I am going to put everything on the screen. We have the grammar, we have the first and follow that we just found. We also see a table. The columns of this table are made by the terminals we encountered in a grammar. The rows are marked with the non-terminals. To create a parsing table of any non-terminal, look at the first of that non-terminal. If the first of non-terminal does not contain epsilon, then you can write the production rule in the set of first. For non-terminal S, its first is open bracket A and D. It does not contain epsilon, and the only production rule it got is S derives UVW. So we will write S derives UVW under the column of every terminal that is contained in the first of S, that is A, D and open bracket. Now look at first of V. V has two production rules. First of V contains epsilon. The production rule that can derive the terminal A is V derives AV. So we will write that production rule under the column of A. Now because of the epsilon, we will focus on the follow of V. If the first of any non-terminals contains epsilon, then write the production rule under the set of first that derives it and write the rest of production rules under the set of follow, that is C dollar closing bracket and B. So we will write V derives epsilon under the columns of B, C closing bracket dollar. For non-terminal U, its first does not contain epsilon. It has three production rules. The terminal open bracket can be derived by U derives open bracket S closing bracket. Therefore, we write it under the column of open bracket. U has a production rule that derives ASB. As it derives the terminal A, we will write the production rule in the column of A. U also derives terminal D. We will write this production rule in the column of D. The first of W contains epsilon. Therefore, we will also use the follow of W to create the parsing table. First of W contains C, and the production rule that can derive C is W derives CW. We will write this production rule under the column of C. Now, the follow of W contains dollar closing bracket B. We will write the remaining production rule in these columns, that is W derives epsilon. Notice that the table does not contain multiple entries. Therefore, it is an LL1 parser. If the table had multiple entries, it would not be an LL1 parser. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it was useful. Please like and subscribe.